The NBA All-Star Weekend seemed to be a bit disappointing for many people, but let's recap what happened. Starting with the celebrity game, we have East vs West, both coached by ESPN SportsCenter hosts. The East was coached by Jamel Hill, assisted by Kyle Lowry, DJ Khaled, and Fat Joe. The West was coached by New Orleans native Michael Smith, assisted by Draymond Green and Roxy Diaz. It was quite a lopsided game pretty much the entire game. And no, Kevin Hart did not make an appearance in this one. I totally expected him to jump out of nowhere from the crowd or something like he did last year from coaching. But boy, the West could have used the 4-time celebrity MVP though. So the East took it over the West 88-59. Brennan Armstrong, who does the NBA star impressions, was the MVP with 16 points and 15 rebounds. For the Rising Stars Challenge, we have Team USA versus Team World. Frank Kaminsky came out firing for Team USA, but Canadian Jamal Murray brought his bow and all his arrows, knocking down 9 3-pointers. It was pretty much a Murray and Kaminsky shootout, but too bad Kaminsky was on the bench for a good portion of the second half. So that allowed Team World to take it over Team USA 150-141. Jamal Murray was the MVP with 36 points and 11 assists. Now onto the NBA D-League All-Star, which is always pretty entertaining for me. It showcases the D-League's top prospects, potential call-ups, and some players already called up to the NBA. There's always a little more competitive style of play in the NBA D-League All-Star game because the guys are trying to impress the teams and scouts, making them play a little harder. So it was rather a close game with the East winning 105-100 over the West. Quinn Cook of the Canton Charge was the MVP with 18 points and 12 assists. And for the D-League Dunk Contest, John Jordan of my Raptors 905 was back to defend his title. But he just didn't seem prepared enough, so he couldn't wow the crowd and the judges like he did last year, and he struggled to land the big dunks in the final round. So Troy Williams of the Iowa Energy had quite an easy victory to take home the dunk title. For the D-League 3-point contest, the winner was Scott Wood of the Santa Cruz Warriors. Of course, the winner had to be from the Warriors organization, even at the D-League level. For All-Star Saturday night, we start with the Skills Challenge. It was won by Kristaps Porzingis, helping the Bigs win for the second straight year. It really shows how much the game has changed, huh? For the 3-point contest, the Warriors' favorite contest, it surprisingly saw Klay Thompson fail to defend his title, even exited the first round. Kyle Lowry of my Raptors scored one of the lowest scores ever in the contest. It was probably because of that injured wrist he got after that game against the Bobcats, and he ended up aggravating it even more during the All-Star. But the winner was Eric Gordon this year, beating Kyrie Irving in a tiebreaker. On to the Slam Dunk Contest. Zach LaVine is unfortunately injured, so he couldn't come back to defend his title. So Aaron Gordon, who many thought should have won last year, decided to come back to try it again. So technically, he was the one defending the title. But he just couldn't meet everyone's expectations and missed pretty much all his dunks. So in the final round between Glenn Robinson III and Derrick Jones Jr., the theme for them seemed to be to line some guys up, cheerleaders, mascots, and whatnot, and try to dunk over them. And so Glenn Robinson III is this year's Slam Dunk champion. So even though All-Star Saturday night ended a little disappointing with the not-so-exciting dunks and the missed dunks, at least the actual All-Star game had a bit more excitement. But before the game, there was plenty of talk between Westbrook and Durant, as plenty of heat was stirred up in the previous meeting between the Warriors and the Thunder. But even in the interviews with the media where they dodged the questions about their beef, they're trying not to answer too much about it, making things pretty interesting. But a few minutes into the All-Star game, they're able to quickly put away all the questions with that give-and-go alley-oop. Wow, I didn't expect anyone to see them do that outside of the OKC days. So the West bench celebrated during the timeout about the fact that they've made up. It was quite a funny moment, probably my favorite moment of this year's All-Star game. Kevin Durant ended up with a triple-double. Westbrook, playing for the MVP like he always does, fell just 1 point shy of the All-Star scoring record set by Wilt Chamberlain of 42 points. The Greek Freak was a freak, dunking like crazy, putting up 30 points. But the hometown hero Anthony Davis actually did beat the scoring record with 52 points. He put on a show out there with everyone throwing the ball at the rim for him. So of course AD captures the All-Star MVP for the host city New Orleans. He scored 52 points and 10 rebounds as the West beat the East 192-182. And another thing that Nollins was able to celebrate about was that Boogie Cousins was actually going to stay put in their city, because it was reported after the game that the Pelicans had traded for him. The trade was Tyreke Evans, Langston Galloway, Buddy Hield, and 2017 first and second round picks going to the Kings, in exchange for DeMarcus Cousins and Henri Caspi. But nonetheless, I hope you were able to enjoy the All-Star weekend. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll tune in to the next episode.